आप सबको बहुत बहुत जश्न मुबारक हो और विलादतें आयमा अलैहिस्सलाम मुबारक हो, शाबान मुबारक हो। और मैं ज़्यादा वक्त नहीं लूँगा क्योंकि माशाल्लाह बहुत सारे और बहुत अच्छे अच्छे पढ़ने वाले हैं। और जिस तरीके से आफ्ताब भाई ने मेरा इंट्रोडक्शन करवाया, मैं चाह तो रहा था कि कोई उससे कनेक्टेड बात करूं, लेकिन मेरा टॉपिक कुछ ज़्यादा सीरियस है, तो मैं थोड़ा वो लोगों के ऊपर छोड़ देता हूं कि उस कनेक्शन में बात करें। जो टॉपिक जिसके ऊपर मैं बात करना चाहता हूँ वो कुरान मजीद की आयत है, वाद सूरह रोम की 6ठी आयत है। वादल्लाहु ला युखलिफुल्लाह वादहु वलाकिन्ना अक्सरन नास ला यअलमून। सल्लल्लाहु Muhammad. I'll also speak in English because some of these concepts I would like some of the youth to get the concept, because some of these might be more philosophical and more like thought provoking. So Allah Ta'ala mentions in Surah Rum, the 6th verse, that Allah's promise, Allah doesn't change his promises. Wa'dallah al-haq, meaning Allah's wa'da is truth. And if you think about the events that surrounded the birth of Imam Hussain alayhi salam and Hazrat Abbas Muhammad, for example, when he was conceived, Imam Hussain alayhi salam, Angel Jibreel comes and tells the Prophet that your son will be killed in a place where he will be without water, without any of the supporters, and he will be killed with the entire family. When he is born, the same message comes back. When the angels are coming, they're coming to the Prophet, giving him felicitations, but also are crying for what will happen to Imam Hussain alayhi salam. And then the story or the narration repeats in different angles. When he is growing up, the same event happens when all of the family is crying, and he's now asking, what will you give to my followers who will visit me? So the concept is repeating again and again, which raises an interesting question that Allah has planned previously already, that there will be a place named Karbala where Imam Hussain alayhi salam will be martyred. And it's not only about Imam Hussain al-Islam. When Hazrat Abbas, according to the books of Khasail Hazrat Abbas al-Islam, it says that when Hazrat Abbas was born, Imam Ali al-Islam took his son and started kissing his hands. And when they were asked, why are you kissing the hands? Imam said, one day his hands will no longer be with him and he will be killed with his brother. So all of this raises an important question, that Allah has pre-planned the event of Karbala, but it is very interesting that Allah has also given us free will. So now think about this. For Imam Hussain to reach Karbala, he had to grow up to 60 years. He could have died for any reason before that age. He could have died when the house was burnt of Sayyidah Fatma Zahra. He could have died for any other reason before that time. And even when he started his journey on the 28th of Rajab, he wasn't going to Karbala. He knew when the angels came, he said that there is a place for me and a maqam for me which I will only get if I embrace martyrdom and come on that day. But he wasn't going directly to Karbala, that this is my duty, I'm going to go over there. He said, I'm going to Makkah, and then from Makkah he was going for Kufa, and he kept on telling people that, let me go, I'm going to go far away. But people forced him in Karbala and with the situation. So this raises a question, that all the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt al-Islam knew about this event in Karbala, but Allah doesn't force the circumstances. So how can they know that this will happen and it actually happened in that way? The reason that question is important for us to understand, because the Ahlul Bayt al-Islam, the Prophet, the Imams have told what will happen before the arrival of Imam Mahdi al-Islam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Because if we do not understand how Karbala unfolded, then it will be difficult for us to understand how the time of Imam Mahdi, when the time comes and the situation unfolds, how does it unfold and how the prophecy turn into reality. So this is the concept that we need to understand. So first of all, we need to understand Allah is beyond time and space. For Allah, the events have already taken place. For Allah, Karbala had already taken place. That's why when Angel Jibreel came, he told this will happen because it has already taken place. Always keep this in mind that for Allah, these things have happened. And that's why exactly the same sequence of events took place. For Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, the same goes true. That for Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, the events have already taken place. That's why the prophecies are very clear. This will happen, this will happen, this will happen. People will say, like, how is that possible that this is a particular sequence of events? How would they happen? By the way, when the prophecy is mentioned, it doesn't have to be exactly literal prophecy. There are many times allegorical examples for people to understand. If multicolored Sufyani, one individual people are looking for, that might not be the one individual who might rise. That Sufyani might have already risen. So always keep that in mind. If we keep on thinking about those literal things and the announcement happens, people might say, oh, that announcement wasn't real because these signs haven't happened. So the reason I mentioned this is because Allah subhanahu, then the second question will come, how is it possible that Allah will make these things happen? Why does Allah make all of these difficult things happen? Allah doesn't make these things happen. It is the free will and the evil that is inside the humans that will guide people towards that direction, because every time the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam have given the option to people. Whether you look at the sermon of Ghadir, the Prophet said, if you follow Ali, the one I am raising the hand of, Allah will bestow his blessings. If you do not follow Ali, curse of Allah will be upon those who will not follow Imam Ali. So there was always this option. Secondly, when Imam Hassan alayhi salam stood up, he and when he actually said, okay, Muawiyah, I am not going to fight anymore. Reason being, I have to protect my household. At that point, he gave a sermon. He said, if people would have followed me, I would have given them the ni'mat, the inam from the heavens and earth. So the same thing with Imam Hussain alayhi salam. People did not follow the Imam. People left the Imam alone. The same concept goes again and again. It is a free will for humans to follow the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam or not follow the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, till the point that Allah doesn't see anything pure or positive coming from the humanity. Till the point that the entire world comes to a point where one person says that you can accept me and I will give you food, I will give you medicine, I will give you everything. If you do not accept me, I will take away food, I will take away your currency, I will take away everything. Those are narrations, those are prophecies that will happen towards the end of times. Because again, coming back to the same point, because in front of Allah, all of this has already happened. The question for us is, are we ready if the time comes in the near future, without going into a lot of details of the research? If the time comes at any moment in time in the near future, are we ready to actually take the step and leave all of our belongings, our family, and go support the Imam? Because Allah says in the Quran, with the ayat that which I started, Allah does not do against his promise, and Allah has made the promise that Allah will fulfill his nur no matter how bad the people think. Allah will give victory to those who have been oppressed. This is the promise of Allah, that at one point the victory will be with Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. The question is, when the first announcement happens, are we willing to leave everything, or it will be difficult for us to leave? Because once the Imam starts with the mu'jizat, with all the ability that all the Imams had, but they were not allowed to use those to gain power, it will become very difficult for us to then join. Because like what happened with the Prophet, and I'll end with that, there are people who accepted Islam when the Prophet came down from the cave Hira. There are people who accepted Islam in the time of Makkah. There are people who accepted Islam in Medina after the battles. And there were few people who accepted Islam at the time of Fatah Makkah because they did not have any other option. The other story is of Pharaoh. Pharaoh, for example, had the option to accept Musa and let him go for a long time. He saw all the signs, but he did not let Bani Israel go. After he decided to let them go, after a long period of seeing all the different signs that Prophet Musa brought, at night, he decided to follow. At that point, angel came to Prophet Musa alayhi salam, take your qawm, take your nation, because Pharaoh is going to follow you. How did the angel know? Because it has already been done. Allah sees that this will happen. Do not wait, leave right away. And then Pharaoh comes. The Musa alayhi salam did not fight the Pharaoh directly, opens the river, the sea, and they cross. When the waves come over Pharaoh, he says, I accept the Rabb of Musa and Harun. At that point, Quran says it is too late. So we should be careful that we're not too late when the announcement happens. With that, I pray for the protection of the Maraja Karam, for the protection of the Shias around the world, for the protection of those who are standing for justice and against oppression. Because the light is in one place only at this point in the world. Everyone else has joined on other side. There's only one side which has the light of standing against injustice. That may Allah, Bihaqqa Muhammad wa Ali wa Fatima wal Hassan wal Hussein, destroy the oppressors and hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time. Let's end with this dua that Prophet Nuh used to recite. رب اغفر لي ولوالدي ولمن دخل بيتي مؤمنا وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات ولا تزد الظالمين إلا تبارا بحق محمد وعلي وفاطمة والحسن والحسين.